What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for Clickheads. Whoa, wait, put down your pitchforks, Nintendo fans. Calm down and watch the video first. Hear me out. I love the Nintendo Switch to probably an unhealthy level for a human being to love a device. I'd be one of the first to buy a Switch Pro if it is a real thing, but I don't think a Switch Pro is the right play for Nintendo, despite what some industry experts and hopeful fans seem to think. If you haven't heard, the conversation of a Switch Pro model got stirred up again recently because industry analyst in Japan, Dr. Serkin Toto, predicted that a $400 Switch sporting bigger cartridge sizes, rocking 4K resolutions, will launch after the summer to compete with the PS5 and Xbox Series X, along with a first-party system seller game, like Metroid Prime 4 or Breath of the Wild 2. If you may have been living under a custom PC tower-sized rock, Pro versions of consoles have been popular for current-gen consoles to extend their life. For example, the PS4 Pro sports better load times, graphics, and overall performance on games, and that type of upgrade is what some think will come with the new Switch Pro model. Advocates for this to be true believe this is likely because Breath of the Wild 2 seems to line up with that release date, but also is precisely the type of game that could utilize a Switch with better hardware, a bigger world, more demanding graphics, and maybe, finally, a strong enough CPU where this time around the game won't drop to 10 frames a second while walking through grass. And if you don't put too much thought into any of this, I think most of it seems intuitive. However, I think if you put a bit of time to think about the space the Switch occupies in the market, a move like this largely ignores the base principles that made the Switch a success to begin with. But of course, let's be real for a second. In truth, Nintendo could sell any version of the Switch like hotcakes right now. This is a company that's literally selling cardboard. The Switch is a force so strong in the industry right now, I think it can do no wrong. They could make a Switch Micro with one Joy-Con and a 2-inch display, and it would still sell. That's how confident I am with how strong the IP is right now, but that misses the point. To me, when you look at it, so few games on the Switch can actually utilize more performance when you actually add them all up. All of the Nintendo first-party titles run fine on the current hardware. I would like more frames, sure, but it's not even something most people ever bring up when talking about any of the heavy hitter titles on the system. So other than Breath of the Wild 2 maybe, it doesn't really feel necessary. Another massive chunk of Nintendo games in the library are indie games. They definitely don't care about upgraded hardware. Games like Stardew Valley probably could run on an Apple II computer, and that accounts for a huge chunk of the player base. So really, the only big chunk of games that could utilize upgraded hardware are ports. Games like Mortal Kombat, The Witcher, Doom, Wolfenstein 2, Skyrim, etc., all definitely can be improved with better performance, but the thing is, we've already set the precedent that it's more of an optimization issue fixed with the magic of development rather than a hardware issue. Listen, some of these games, the lack of performance sticks out real bad. Cassie, darling, go back and get you a refund, girlfriend. Hairdo looking like the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. And of course, some games are better than others. Diablo 3 felt like a flawless port to me, but some of the other games mentioned certainly did chug a bit on the performance or visuals end. The Bethesda shooters like Wolfenstein and Doom looked like petroleum jelly was smeared over most of the screen to distract from how poorly some of the textures were rendering in the distance. But did any of these things diminish my enjoyment of these games? Not really. Even as a gamer who owns a stupidly powerful high-end gaming rig. Why is that? Because I feel like I know what to expect from the Switch, and if I want performance, I'm not looking for my handheld console to do so. Maybe this is a boomer take. If so, guilty as charged. But I still remember when Nintendo handheld devices didn't have color. Yes, old gamers like me literally remember when gaming was still in black and white. That's how old I am. The fact that these high-end games can even run at all in the palm of my hand still blows me away. And I've seen some argue that a more powerful Switch will help it keep up with next-gen hardware, but there's a few problems with that idea. Next-gen no longer means what it used to. Next-gen for consoles is like 2 gens ago for PC. And so yes, some of the highest end games won't even be possible to be ported over the Switch, but I have faith that they'll either want to tap into that incredible install base of the Switch and make compromises to make a port work, or you just don't get those games and the Switch will keep plugging along, playing lower end games and dominating that section of the market. And maybe I'm just too ignorant on how game design works, but I feel like if they can make Witcher and Doom work, they can downscale about anything and get it functional on the Switch if they really want to. Keep in mind, a game like Doom in 2016 really could take advantage of that actual next-gen PC technology that was out years ago, but still found a way to scale it appropriately to the current-gen consoles at the time and the Switch. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying it's easy to do that, but with the profit incentive of having a massive install base, I think a lot of developers will just choose to figure out a way to massively downscale their games to work on the handheld console, especially as there's so many crazy tricks that developers have been pulling out of their hat in order to get these games to work, like dynamic resolution scaling, which does cause for very blurry visuals, but also does get the game to work. Feels like a fair trade-off to me, and a technique that I don't even think was possible some years ago. I think many of us get duped into buying the hype of how awesome something can be lit with lighting effects or how many pixels can fit into a screen, missing the point that we've already seen diminishing returns on leaps in performance in gaming, and that's not really a bad thing. They've kind of solved it, guys. Games look and perform basically as amazing as you want them to. This isn't new. PCs have been doing this for a while, but the things gamers should remember is that you play games, not pixels. Performance has diminishing returns on the high end, but it also does on the low end. If hair in Mortal Kombat 11 didn't look terrible, would I love it more? Not really. The game ran smooth and I was happy. Why? Because the Switch is a hybrid console and isn't competing with home consoles or PC. It's in its own league and it's already dominating that. If Switch consumers were looking for performance, they already could have affordably had an Xbox or PS4 for that. And considering how many games I expect to actually utilize the power, I really doubt it's going to be a thing. Again, I'd personally 1000% buy a Switch Pro. I want all the frames. No matter the cost, just give them to me. It's just that even as a PC gamer like myself, I think that style of product is disconnected to the actual appeal of the Switch and doesn't relate to the vast majority of those who are even interested in the system to begin with. Well, guys, that's it for my first ClickHeads video. Support on this channel so early in its life has really blown us away. We can't thank you enough. Content will be a combination of types of things. We are looking to do deep dive long form reviews as well as this news format, which will be a bit more regular. But when the time comes, we may also try out some guides and tips for upcoming games this year. And with so many great ones on the way, a lot of cool content spanning multitude of genres should be in the works. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit it with a like on your way out. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to join the notification squad so you actually get notified when our videos go live. Keep leaving us feedback in the comment section down below. Thanks, guys. You've been great. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for ClickHeads. We'll see you guys next time.